Well, I've been going through some of my favourite poetry books, and I have a large collection here by William Butler Yeats, but also all those associated with him within that period of time. Yeats, though, strikes a chord with me because he writes about this very area that I live in, between here and Sligo. He writes about a time that was just before the advent of electricity, and they say here in Ireland that it was electricity that drove away the fairies. But he also writes with a deep intensity and passion that I've never come across in any of his contemporaries. My favourite poem, well, maybe not my favourite, but at least one of my favourites, The Second Coming. It was written in 1919, and it was written in the aftermath of the First World War. And of course, we all know from our history books that the First World War was a bloodbath. Most wars are bloodbaths, but the First World War was like a dreadful blood sacrifice. So, considering the time that's in it now, with these arrogant, egotistical, bombastic fools shouting at each other across thousands of miles of land and ocean, and threatening war, and, well, just threatening and not caring, not really caring about the outcomes for ordinary people. No war has ever cared about the outcomes for ordinary people. So this particular poem is very apt anyway for the time that's in it, and I'd like to read it to you. The Second Coming. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the centre cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight. A waste of desert sand, a shape with lion body and the head of a man, a gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it wind shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born.